I wanted to show you this kit that I've received from a company that's based near where I live in Australia called RCFoamFly. And what they are doing is producing pre-cut versions of the RCPowers version 4 fleet with the approval of the RCPowers team. Now what you see here is one of the kits. It happens to be the F-18 version 4, and this is the top of their range of mixes of foam and components. This long line here that you see down the bottom, these are all the components that come with this version. I've already taken them out of the box, and you can get kits that have less components or just the foam. So let's have a look what's inside. Okay, let's have a look what's in the kit. Now the box that it comes in is quite a sturdy number, designed to protect the foam and any components during the shipping process, and mine is certainly in great nick. This channel here is where the components go if you bought a kit with some components. That's all of this stuff laid out here at the front. I've already taken that out. It normally is all nicely shrink wrapped and secure. And I just wanted to have a look what was inside the shrink wrap. Okay, so it comes with the foam protected by a little bit of bubble wrap and a sticker to go on your flight box. RCFoamFly.com. They're a little company. I've dealt with them quite a bit, and they look after me very well. So they're worth having a look at. All right, inside the bubble wrap, we get into the foam, and I believe this is all cut using a water jet system controlled by a computer, CNC guided water jet cutting. Look, I think the cuts are terrific. That is beautifully accurate, very sharp, very nicely done, and I certainly believe that if you want a good flying plane, you've got to build it straight, and you can't build it straight unless your cutting out is straight and clean, and this does all that for you. There are these little tabs on each of the components that hold the piece into the main foam sheet. All that's needed to release it is a couple of cuts and you're away. There's also these little notches here to help you see where the part cuts, the scoring is required to help with the folding of the foam. That's a handy idea. The rest of the foam, and there are a total of 5 sheets in here, 4 sheets in total. They are all, as I can see here, just as well and accurately cut, so that's great. All right, look, this would take me about 2 to 3 hours to cut out in the normal way. And when you've got a bad back like I have, that's not a lot of fun. And I'm certainly happy to pay some money to remove the requirement to go through that 3 hours of discomfort and effort. So looking forward to trying out the rest of the build. I'll take you through the componentry that came with my kit next, and then we'll get on with the build. Okay, let's take a look at the components that come with the RCFoamFly pre-cut kit. Servos first. You get 6 of these. Now I've used these on a number of my builds in the past. They work just fine. They're metal gear, which is great, and they're also strong and responsive, which helps in making sure the control surfaces move when you want them to. The fact you get 6 is a bonus, because you can get away with as few as 2 of these to get the plane in the air. I generally use 4 or 6, but you might well find that you end up with a few spares, and they're quite a useful servo to have. The motor is also a useful item to have. It's a motor I've used on many of my planes and which is recommended by Dave Powers. It's the Turnigy 2200 kV motor, a really useful motor for this application. Plenty of power, and that's all you're going to need. You get a swag of servo leads, 6 of those. As again, you might end up with a few spares here. This includes 2 Y-split leads, which can help you to make sure that your rudders and your ailerons are moving in a synchronised fashion. They're high quality components, and again, you might find you end up with a few extras. The longest item in the kit is the carbon fibre rod. Now this is 4mm rod, which I think is terrific. I often use 3mm rod in the RCPowers planes, but for some applications this works great, and the fact that they've just standardised on this, that is the RCFoamFly kit, has standardised on 4mm, means you get a really strong, very rigid piece of carbon fibre as the spar for your wings. So that, I think, is a terrific inclusion. Another good inclusion is the 40 amp ESC. I've also used this in a number of my builds, plenty of power there. It won't cut out or become intermittent no matter how many servos you put on your plane, because it's just got so much grunt. The other thing I like about it is that it's all pre-finished. The battery plug on the end here, and likewise the plugs for the motor, are all soldered on and beautifully finished. That's a real time saver, because almost invariably when you buy an ESC you have to solder on the end connectors, so that's terrific. The other thing which is great about this kit is the fact you get 6 really high quality push rods. Now these look like the Depron item to me, and they're very strong, threaded on both ends, so you can really use these in a whole bunch of ways. You could cut the threads off, of course, and just use them in a different way, say with a link stopper, but I think the fact you get 6 really strong rods is very, very useful. You get a roll of tape here. This is Blenderm tape. It's actually used for medical purposes, but it makes a great hinge for RC planes. Look, there's more there than you could need in a whole season of building planes, perhaps even longer. I use this on some of my planes. I also use a method involving fiberglass mesh, and I'll show you how to use both those when I come to build the plane. What else we got here? We've got half a dozen link stoppers, quite a good quality. I've used these as well. I need a dab of glue just to make sure they don't come loose on you, or maybe some thread locker, but otherwise they'll be just great for this application. You get a little bag of magnets. In fact, you get 10. Now, they're wrapped up, but they are quite small when you pull them out. The only thing I've found is that sometimes you need to double up the number of magnets just to make sure the hatch stays closed. That's what these magnets are for, to secure the battery hatch. You get a couple of pieces of Velcro to make sure your battery doesn't shift around, and also to secure some of the other components in the airframe. Some clevises, again half dozen, standard fare. They'll go very nicely onto the end of those threaded control rods. They even throw in a few razor blades. Now you wouldn't think you'd need these. You do just need them to cut those little tabs on the foam on each piece, just to separate it from the main sheet. But you'll end up with a couple of spare razor blades, which is very helpful. The propeller is a standard APC style 6x4 prop. You'll need to balance these, I've found, to get a nice vibration-free flight. Of course, it comes with a few bushes just to make sure it fits snugly onto the onto the shaft of the motor. The kit comes with a number of these double-sided foam blocks. These are used to put the servos in. Now, I have often used hot glue for that purpose, but that can be a bit messy, both to put in and also to clean up. This is great. I've used these on the last couple of planes and they work just fine. It's no mess, and it makes it really easy to relocate or to recycle the servos if you need to. So that's useful to have. The control horns are provided. You get half a dozen. I think these are the standard Hobby King job. The only thing I'd say about these, they work fine, is you do need a little bit of glue, in fact some epoxy or hot glue, just to make sure they're not going to pull out of the control surface. Otherwise they work just fine. The motor mount provided is a nice strong piece of ply, and you get the screws to mount the motor to that, which in turn then glues onto the airframe. They even thought to throw in some sandpaper. In fact, there seems to be 2 different grades of sandpaper there. That's really helpful because that lets you smooth out the edges and finish off the plane in a nice fashion. A very thoughtful idea. They've also included a couple of little electronic items. You may not always need these, but if you want them, they're there. The signal reverser, that's this item here, is helpful if you just can't get the servo to throw in the right direction. You can sometimes fix that in the radio, but some guys just prefer to plug in one of these and the problem is solved. So that's useful and a great thing to add to the toolbox. Likewise, this item here, which is a V-tail mixer. Dave Powers' instructions for his planes tells you how to use these. They're designed to mix the inputs of the control surfaces. You can achieve those sort of things in the radio, for example the Spectrum DX8, that's what I use, but some guys don't have one of those or just like to use the mixer, and that's a really great inclusion to have. The last couple of items are also showing a bit of thought by the guys who put the pack together. This is a 2mm drill bit. you might ask what that's for. Well, it's to drill out the holes on the servo horn so that you can get the link stoppers to go through. 2mm drill bit matches nicely the 2mm shaft on the link stoppers provided in the kit. And the other thing is this little piece of metal, a little metal rod, which had me confounded for a little while, but I figured it out. It's to go through the hole in the hub of the propeller, so that you can then tighten it up like that, which I normally use a little Allen key for. So this is just going to be perfect for that, and a nice thing to just throw into the toolbox. So there we go. There are all the components in the RCFoamFly pre-cut kit. This is the full kit, which is a little more expensive, but even so, by the time you add up all of these components, you've got a really good deal, and you're going to end up with some spares of a number of the items in here. You combine that with the fact that the foam is all pre-cut, and you've saved yourself hours of cutting and printing the plans in the first place, and buying the Depron. I think you're on a winner. So this is a great deal, and I'm really looking forward to building this plane.